In the era of subscription services raising their prices for worse services, the time has come to return to old roots, having dedicated music player with downloaded songs, but now only in highest quality. With Spotify upping their prices, it was just a matter of time for me to go to the offline method. In my previous video, I have talked about what is another option for subscription services, and now I decided to try HiFi because why not? And I can tell you that it changed my listening to music time like gradually. It's on the other level. First of all, it's a dedicated time for listening because right now, when I listen to music, I listen to music. And the thing is that I choose what music I hear and not just some algorithm or AI deciding what I would like, and with me constantly skipping the tracks because I cannot find anything interesting at all. But what about the sound quality? The sound quality is simply great. It has improved. I cannot say that it has improved like 100%, but it has improved like 10 to 15%, and you can hear it if you listen close enough. But the thing here is that in order to hear this difference, you need to listen really closely. And the thing also is that IEMs, the IEMs that I have, and IEMs mostly that exist in the market right now, they do not have active noise cancelling as have, for example, TVS headphones or TVS earphones. But fortunately, this device, Snowsky Echo Mini, actually has Bluetooth, and it has specific chip dedicated for high-resolution Bluetooth audio. That's meaning that you can connect the same headphones that you are using with your phone to this device. And last but not least, when talking about my experience with this device, is that you actually own the music. The music doesn't change, it won't be blacklisted, it won't be shadow banned, it won't be deleted from the subscription service because you actually own the music, the song that you have downloaded and of course paid for it, if you know what I mean. That means that you actually have this song on your device and it won't get changed, and no algorithm would tell you that this song is no longer in favor of some service. But what about pure specs of this device? So this device actually has 8 GB of memory on it and also has microSD card slot, so you can enter up to 256 GB of microSD storage, meaning that it would be more than enough memory for all your music or your podcasts or even audiobooks if you would like one, and it would be more than enough even in the highest quality like in FLAC or DSD. Also, important thing that as told before, this device also has 2 chips. One chip for wired output and one for wireless, meaning that this device will give you high resolution quality of audio transmission, both wired and wirelessly. And talking from my own experience, of course, there is a difference between wired and wirelessly, and you can hear much more details if we're talking about wired transmission of sound. But the thing is that if we're talking about listening on the go, then TVS, even some cheap ones, like for example the ones I have, Nothing Earphone A, which cost around $80, it would also be more than enough in terms of active noise cancelling, because active noise cancelling actually matters a lot if we're talking about listening on the go and listening outside of your apartment or some calm place. Of course, another thing which I need to talk to you about, which you have maybe already noticed, is that this device has 2 audio jacks. It has 3.5mm audio jack over here and 4.4 over here, meaning that any sort of wired headphones it would support, and it would give you in a perfect sound. It would give you perfect sound, it would give you amazing quality of audio as told before. But one of the important things when talking about a portable HiFi or even usual player is the battery life. The battery life on this device is enough for me of constant listening for around hour or 2 a day. It is enough for around 3 days. The battery is not amazing, but it's decent. It's decent, and you can actually use this device without charging for several days. Of course, it's another one gadget you need to charge, like phones, TVS, now the player, smartwatch and so on, but the thing is that it is worth it, and the important thing which I have told you a little bit before, I have spoiled it a bit, it can be used as a DAC for your PC. So you just connect it using USB Type-C to your PC, you enter the same headphones or earphones using 3.5 or 4.4mm audio jacks, and you actually have much greater audio quality comparing to the usual 3.5mm audio jack on your laptop or your PC. And while using it as a DAC, it also charges. So essentially, when I come home, I just connect it to my PC and I use the same IEMs that I use daily for listening to the high-resolution sound. But now that sound comes not from the player itself, it comes from my PC through the player as a portable DAC. And on the way, charging the device. But what about the navigation? As you probably have noticed, this device has a screen. It's pretty tiny, it is colorful, but the thing is that it's not touchscreen, and in my opinion, that's a great thing. Because when you do not have touchscreen, it means that it won't live its own life in your pocket. It has buttons on the top. It has more than enough buttons for everything you need, from sound to choosing to back, play, power, and so on. And the thing actually is that it's much more convenient because you do not have to constantly check your pocket and take it out of your pocket in order to change the phone. You can change it while the player is in your pocket or in your bag. You just get it in your palm and you actually can navigate everything you'd like. The responsiveness is simply great, it's really amazing. The UI, the design is simply great. As you can see, I have this retro design because the Snowsky Echo Mini, the device itself, it's pretty resembling the tape of tape recorders, of tape players, and when you press play, you can actually see this tape going round and round. And that's pretty much is a pretty appealing thing for me because it gives me this retro futuristic, I'd say, vibes, because when you are listening, when you are using this device, it actually feels a little bit futuristic, but at the same time it's retro, so I love this thing. But what about pluses and minuses of this device, like summarizing everything? The plus of this device, for me personally, is the design. Of course it's plastic, but it's high quality plastic and I really love this device being in my hand. And also, one of the pluses is the popularity of this device. Snowsky Echo Mini, in my opinion, and in the opinion of lots of people around the globe, is one of the most popular HiFi players right now because of its price of around $50 to $60, meaning that there is more than enough third-party accessories, like different types of cases, screen protectors, and so on. But I really love seeing, and I love the thing when this device is in your hand. It's pretty small, as you can see comparing to my palm right now, and the thing is that despite there being lots of third-party accessories at the market right now, at the same AliExpress, Alibaba, Amazon, and so on, I prefer much more this device being on its own, being outside of case. I know it scratches the plastic which covers the screen. This is not glass. The plastic itself on this device looks like it can be scratched pretty easily, but I use this player for around 3 to 4 months at the moment, and I can say that it doesn't have any major damages. That's why it's a pretty good thing. But of course, if you would like to get some third-party accessory, you can get it, and there is plenty of those. Of course, in my player, maybe it's because this player is limited edition gold and titanium color or some sort of it. It has two options of user interface. User interface, one, as you have seen before, it's a tape recorder, and another thing, it's more modern, but the modern, I don't like the vibes of it. Because the thing is that when you're having such thing as a retro-futuristic player, I would love to see the retro-futuristic UI as well. That's why you have seen the tape going around and around there, and I think it's pretty interesting. But what about minuses? I have talked only about pluses at the moment, but the thing is that first and greatest minus is that you cannot get this player like for a long period of time if you decide to buy it today, unless it's for some ridiculous price like double or triple the price, original price of this player. This player is very popular, and right now in the market also came not Snowsky Echo Mini, but Snowsky Echo, which is a little bit bigger. It has bigger screen. it has some minor improvements, but I love this player. I love it for being very small, very compact, and it's very convenient. But back to the minuses. Another minus, as I see it, is the fact that it has plastic body. I know, I've told before that the plastic is really high quality and I have nothing against it, but I would love to see the same player, being from the aluminum. And aluminum would be much greater, because it would give you a real premium look and it would give you a real premium feeling of this device. Of course, another thing is the battery, because for me personally, battery is never enough. In my phone, it's never enough. In tablets, in laptops, it's never enough. If this device won't go by itself for 1 week, it's not enough, because you can always put there a bigger battery, like silicon carbon or some sort. I know 2 to 3 days it lives for me, and from time to time I connect it to my PC in order to use it as a DAC, as a portable DAC from my laptop, but still, battery could be better. But what about summarizing this player? This player, Snowsky Echo Mini, is a very good thing. I really love it. I love it much more than my previous MP3 player, which felt really cheap, to be honest, compared to this one, even though both here and there it was plastic. I love the physical buttons, I love the clickiness of these buttons. I really enjoy listening to the music, even though the quality of sound improved like 10 to 15%, which is not so great if you ask me. But the thing is that I really enjoy the time when I listen to music. There appeared specific time for me when I listen to music, when I enjoy the music, when I try to find the differences in the compositions, which I've heard over and over before, and that's why I really enjoy going into HiFi. That's why I think that HiFi, it's not about golden wires and some expensive gadgets. In my opinion, HiFi is more about music and giving yourself a reason to just listen to music more often and more purposeful. So you dedicate some time to the music, you enjoy it, you try to hear the differences, and all it happens just because you have bought some expensive players, some expensive IEMs, and you try to hear the difference. And that's why it gives you this interesting and this fancy experience of listening. So that's my vision of why people go into HiFi. But in any case, thank you for joining in, and feel free to subscribe, leave a like, and see you here next time.